all, and welcome to the All Directions podcast, the only show where you can catch us for an hour long and have fun doing it. How are you doing today, my friend?
Doing good. That was out of the blue.
Well, you see, don't know if you guys caught the last podcast, but this prick caught me off guard when he started the show, so I thought I'd return the favour.
Did you have to do it what's it? Did you have to do it so close to the time? No, hold on. I'll get it right. I will. Did you have to do it in such a close period of time to where I still remembered me doing it?
Yes, I think there's no point in doing it if you don't remember that you did it.
Well, yeah, but shouldn't you do it at a time when I'm least expecting it? Like,
no, because I know how your memory works.
Yeah.
And you forget something roughly after about it's past 4 hours.
Yeah.
Ago. You know, so I can rely on the fact that if I plan on getting revenge on you, you won't see it coming, provided there's a 4 hour gap between what you did and then what I'm going to do.
Right.
So, like I said, your memory's nearly as bad as a goldfish, as the saying goes.
You say that, but I still knew the layout of this house exactly.
That's not creepy at all.
I don't know what it is. I want to say it's like a sense of direction thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I got off at the wrong stop, you know, I had to ask for directions, and it's a weird thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can go into like somebody's house. I will spend like I don't know if it's not even 3 minutes, and I'll know exactly where everything is, or at least the room layout and everything.
I assume, provided you've been in the room, it's not just like you walk into the house. Like 3 minutes of just like eyes closed, head going round, and then like, yep, I know what everything in this house is. I'll be back later tonight.
Oh, I mean, like, even if it's like something like really nonchalant, I'll like remember where a door is, even if I haven't been inside. It's an odd thing. It's a really odd thing. It is
quite an odd thing. I was actually quite surprised when I was talking to you. And you were like, I still know the exact layout of your house, actually. And I was like, piss off. No, you do not. It is, if you've ever even been here, it has been way too long for you to remember the layout of this house. And you just literally went through every room and its exact placement of where everything was. And I was like, that's just weird, dude. That's weird.
I suppose you could call that my superpower of sorts, but
I think the only thing you got wrong was your prediction of where I was at the time, because you assumed I was in the other room because that's where my machine and computer and everything used to be. Despite the fact I told you several times that my computer was in this room now. So, yeah, I think that was the only thing you actually got wrong in the prediction, though everything else was pretty much spot on to a very uncomfortable level.
Yeah, I think I need to test these powers of mine sometime.
Yes, I think we'll send you into a giant ass house.
Yeah.
We'll give you the maximum of. I'll give you 3 minutes 30 seconds just to give you a bit of that extra time.
Okay.
And then we'll let a week pass, and you've got to give me the exact layout of the place, and then we'll go back and see if you are right.
All right.
I'll list down what you say, and see if you are right about everything.
All right.
And then we'll know if they're superpowers or if you just got lucky one time.
Yeah. Actually, I might be able to test my powers now. Because, and it's been over 7 years, so I can actually talk about this. When I was younger, I broke into a church with my friend, and it was I don't remember if you'll remember it, but it was like that church that was in like the you had like graveyard, you had like gate bottom.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
the church at the top. Yeah, so me and my friend were like, "Oh, there's a church over there." So we'd usually just like wander around the graveyard for a while. And we noticed that there was like screws on the door. And we're like, could just take the metal off and just bend it a bit and go inside. It actually had electricity and stuff, oddly enough, right. And it had running water for a bit. But yeah. So quick layout of the place. So this particular church had three? Was it three? It might have been four. No, sorry. 3, 2, 2. Two entry. It had two separate. It had three separate buildings. One was the living quarters. One was the place where like the minister would do his delivery, and I'm not sure what the other one was, but I know it was a door.
Mm-hmm.
We actually only broke into the what was it? The delivery. Like, I don't know what you call that. Like the meeting area with all the seats.
The meeting area with all the seats.
Yeah, where like the pastor would be like at the top and everybody would be in the seats.
The chairs.
The synagogue? I don't think so. Something like that. But yeah, that was actually, it was rather small. It was rather dark. I don't think the lights were in there anymore. But regardless, the main place was again the living area. And you would enter. So there was the archway. There's an archway, and let's see. So there was the door that we got into, and that led into the kitchen. And in the kitchen there was like kitchen sink, cupboards on one side, some on the top. On the opposite side, I think there was another row of cupboards. Or as the Americans would say, I think a pantry.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what the Americans call them. Americans. And there was two more cupboards. Past that was an open space where I assume like the living area would be. And just around the corner. No, sorry, it was broken off into two places. So I assume one would be for the dining place and one would be for the living space. And then around the corner, so if this is where the kitchen is, that would be where the two rooms are.
Mm-hmm.
And around the corner from there would be the stairs that led to the upstairs. And upstairs you had, let's see, I think you go upstairs, and I think to the right would be a bathroom. No, sorry. So the stairs would go up like this, and then around the corner there would be a bathroom, and then there would be down the hall there would be one space for a bedroom, another space for a bedroom on the left, and a larger space which I would assume would be another bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, for a church as old as it is, I believe it actually had double glazing too.
Right.
Which was really odd. Not that it really kept the cold out or anything. But yeah. Oh, I remember another thing. And it actually might call back to me being even younger, because I believe maybe at one point I actually been to this church. And it's a particular thing that you don't actually like. In one of the cupboards, there was actually like a tub, like I think it would like used to hold like coffee. But there was a large tub of raisins.
Okay.
And oddly enough, they weren't rancid. So every time me and my friend went to church, I was like, if I was ever hungry, I would just like eat some raisins.
So you broke into the church multiple times?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it came to the point where we would go into the place so often, and it actually became like our like hideaway kind of deal.
Like your hangout zone.
Yeah.
Your hangout.
We actually took a couple of other people there a couple of other times, but I think those couple of other times we actually got a call and we were asked to leave. And then they actually put like proper nails into the door, so we couldn't get in. Yeah, so we ended up hanging out there so often that on two separate occasions, we tried to, what would you call it? So you know when like a baby bird like falls out of the tree and it's like its mother isn't there to take care of it and stuff. we were trying to, on 2 separate occasions, we were trying to essentially help the bird, what would you call it, develop? And then we were going to release them back into the wild. On both occasions, we actually named the birds Bruce, and they were both starlings.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, interesting. I think the closest thing I ever really acquired to a hangout, or at least the first thing that jumps to my mind, was actually, it was back in college. I've told you the story once before, I think, but it was actually an elevator. It was we just happened upon it, because I don't think you rarely saw anyone ever use the elevator. I think the only time you ever saw anyone use this particular elevator was if the person was like in a wheelchair or something. And me and my friend Perry at the time decided that we're going to check the elevator out, see what other floors there were, if there was anywhere we hadn't been, we didn't recognize any part of the college or something. Because we only stuck to like this one section of the college. So we went and checked it out, and one of us accidentally hit the door or something as the elevator was moving. I can't remember if we just pushed it or one of us like sort of fell back on it or something. But either way, the elevator stopped moving when we did that to the door. And I'm like, oh, geez, I hope we're not stuck in here. So then Harry hits one of the buttons on the elevator, and it starts moving straight away again.
Okay.
Oh. Right. This is something. We can do something here. So every now and then, like every day or two, would go back to the elevator and do it again. Stop the elevator, just have a bit of a chat, and then get it moving again. We're like, okay, we got to do something with this. But it didn't actually work out too well, and it kind of taught us a lesson, because there was one time, the very last time we did it, we got a friend, Anthony, and we said, oh, look, there's this room like on the upper floor. You've got to come check it out. And he's like, okay, we're not just going to take the stairs, okay? Because I don't think he was all too fond of elevators to begin with. I was like, no, you've got to take the elevator out, because it's like the coolest way to go. So all three were getting the elevator. He's talking. I think he might have been slightly uncomfortable or something, because being in the elevator altogether, and we hit the door, and then the elevator stops, and so he's not happy. He's freaking out because he's like, because we're having a good chuckle and laugh about it, because we know we're fine and everything. He's not happy. He's just freaking the fuck out. He's like, get me out of here now. Get me out of this right now. I'm fucking fuming that you've brought me into this. And I think, what was it? Yeah, we were about to hit, look, it's fine. You just hit one of the numbers and the elevator will start moving in. Does he hit one of the numbers? No. He hits the emergency button on the elevator, and the fucking thing shut down, basically. So now the elevator would not move, even after we started hitting the buttons. We were fucking stuck in that damn thing for like an hour and a half or something. Thank fuck. At the time, I had my phone on me that actually had battery life on it, because none of the other two did. Perry did, but he had no credit, and Anthony didn't have his phone on him. So I was able to actually call someone from outside of the elevator to go and tell one of the tutors, basically, to get someone, because the elevator was stuck and no one was doing anything about it. When she got it sorted, but yeah, that's. But it's funny that you mention the whole like. Randomly just one day deciding to break into a church. I think you must have been bored that day.
No, I think it was just like we saw because I would walk around the church regardless. It's like and a couple of times we'd try to enter the place, where you do your hymns and stuff, and it's like just one day we'll notice, hey, those screws, we could actually take those out, and they're not exactly secure in the first place. So in all honesty, whoever owns that particular church, look, fair enough. It's been 7 years, so I don't think you can press charges or anything. So, it's really your fault for not really securing the place and not keeping an eye. I mean, they obviously did keep an eye on the place, because there'd be like a car that would come at least once or twice a day to, I assume, have a look. But again, like, if you want a place secure, you've got to make sure that it's secure, and no one can just like take a bloody a screwdriver and take the screws out.
Oh yeah, because that's how it would work in a court of law, correct? It would be like, well, you didn't secure the place properly, so it's your fault that he broke in.
I don't think we could charge us anyway because I was under the age of 10 at the time.
Yeah, but yeah, you pretty much get away with it nonetheless.
Pretty much.
But I think it's funny because you mentioned breaking into a church, and obviously I just brought up Perry before, and I've told you many times there is a segment that I wish to bring into this show at some point.
Yeah, it's like you keep fucking teasing me with.
I keep teasing you with. But that story would have been the perfect one to start this all off with.
Oh.
You know, you're breaking into a church. What better than to save that for a segment called The Confessional? You know? I mean, but I look forward to the day where I get to reveal the teased story. I've been teasing this guy about whatever this story is that I've got to tell him for like, it must be nearly 2 years now.
No, like 5 years.
It has not been 5 years.
It has been like 5 years.
I actually guarantee you it has not been 5 years because I know what the incident was, and the incident did not occur 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So I know it's less than 5 years.
Okay.
But it has been a while. But I've mentioned it more frequently as of recent to you. I'm going to tone that down just to help your memory bank sort of forget about it still. Because I don't want to keep bringing it up at a faster and faster pace to build it up to such an extent that when you find out, you're like, oh, was that it? I think, you know, had I told you like 3 days or something after the occurrence, you'd have been like, you bastard. You know, you'd have been fuming, you'd been throttling at the mouth, steam would have been coming out the ears, red face and everything, freaking tones and all that coming out your head. You'd been like, honestly, it would have been a reaction, to tell you at the least. But
I think I'm more worried about whatever this is now.
Now that it's been so much time has passed, I think you'd be like, doesn't bother. I'm all right. Yeah.
Again, I think I'm more concerned about what it is rather than...
Yeah, it's nothing to be concerned about. It's just, it's a bit of a fun story, is all. It provided a fun experience.
Fun at whose expense?
Fun experience for all party members.
Okay.
Yourself included.
Okay.
But obviously, you know, like I said, it's a better story the longer you wait to have it told. Just because then you see the funny side of it, as opposed to just, you know, fuel with rage.
I don't think there's ever been anything that you've told me that has been nonchalant that I would ever rage at. Well, apart from like your constant misinterpretation of scientific facts and stuff.
It's not misinterpretation. That's just me knowing how your mind processes.
All right, yeah.
And then me intentionally doing what I can to irritate you.
Which he does rather well.
That's not true. I will tell you one thing that I managed to simply do that sent you in a rage fit quite easily.
Was this when we were younger?
Apparently, we were playing pretend,
and
I was playing Mega Man wrong. So he stormed off. But yeah, that's how that went.
Well, I mean, considering I was like 6 at the time or something. I think tantrums are to be expected at that age.
I mean, you had like in your younger days, you had such a short fuse.
I did.
It was ridiculous. Now it takes quite a bit, I think, to get you tempered.
I've mellowed out.
You are very much mellowed out now, but back when you were like a kid and everything, it did not take much to bring up a storm.
No, not
let's
really.
just say.
No.
But speaking of storm, actually, our actual topic of the story today, what you've been waiting for, and probably the entire reason that you clicked on the video, we mentioned in an older episode of the podcast. I'm not entirely sure which episode of the podcast it was.
I think it's like episode...
honestly,
it's episode 3.
Episode 3?
I think so.
You think so?
That's the
movie budget episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. It probably most likely is then. Most likely is. Episode 3 of the podcast is when we first mentioned this, but a bit more information on it now.
Yeah.
So, supposedly, we mentioned that deal's basically going down, that Disney's kind of in talks to buy like Fox properties and everything. Specifically, Fox's like movie division and possibly that television division as well. But basically, and this is information I just found out recently, well, first off, the deal's coming basically close to an end. We just looked up this morning and found out Comcast, who are the other company that are gunning for all of Fox's properties, I don't know if they dropped out. There's basically not been any word said as to why they're no longer in the running
wasn't
for
it
it.
Because monopoly thing?
No. That was...
if they did.
I think there was worry about... They might have gotten looked into because AT&T, who want to do a merger with Time Warner, have been put on hold because I think they've gotten sued because of them attempting to do the merger with Warner Brothers. So I don't think that merger is actually... I don't know if that merger is still going to happen now.
Well, if
it would seem unlikely if they're getting sued for it.
Yeah, I mean, if it turns out that their acquirement of Warner Brothers and their merging companies would turn into a monopoly,
I just kind of doubt that it would, to be honest with you.
I mean,
it's not in the movie industry world because, like we said, there is that many freaking there's that many movie studios out there.
Yeah.
It's not like having a merge, especially with a non-movie studio, would really cause that much of an issue. Like I said, if anything, it's still not. But out of all three options that were just mentioned, Disney getting Fox properties is more along those lines than AT&T and Warner Brothers merging or Comcast and Fox. Comcast getting Fox's properties. So, but basically, for some reason, they've dropped out. Whether it's to do with potential investigation or just because Fox rejected them or whatever, or Disney's put in a better bid. Either way, Disney's supposedly close to the end. Supposed to get information this week, but it hasn't happened as of yet. Probably most likely... I don't know, sometime this week. But, yeah, like I was going to say, even if Comcast was still in the running for it, the interesting information I found out is there's a very likely chance, no matter what the situation being, that stuff like all the Marvel properties and so on and so forth. I think the only real loss Disney would have there, other than losing a bunch of properties for streaming service, would be they wouldn't get the distributional rights to the original Star Wars movies.
Yeah. Oh wait, wasn't that didn't LucasArts have that?
Lucas owns the films, but Fox has the distributional rights to those films. So Disney can't go selling the original trilogy kind of thing. I think it's different with the special editions, I think, but most specifically the original movies, Fox owns them. Right. So
could that have been the reason why? I mean, there's probably a better explanation than this, but could that have been the reason why George Lucas made all those changes?
See, I don't know, because once again, it does come down to the whole distributional rights thing. It's not like they own have the entire rights to the films kind of stuff. Because, like I said, they didn't. No one had to go through them for George Lucas to sell Star Wars to Disney, or to sell Lucasfilm to Disney, and for Disney to get those properties. So it is just specifically the distributional rights. So it's the same with if you think of why Marvel doesn't make a Hulk movie, because Universal has the distribution rights to that film, so to the title and everything, but Marvel has the character right to it. So it's in the same vein with Star Wars, basically, that Fox has the distribution for it, at least for the first three. And obviously Lucasfilm / Disney have everything else. But no matter what the situation being, it would seem that Disney is guaranteed to get the Marvel stuff back no matter what, because of how the rights work or something. Something along the lines of Marvel / Disney still has always owned the rights to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. I think the basic way you've kind of got to look at it is it's like Fox is basically renting. They basically acquired a license, right? So it's they're renting the rights, and as long as they keep making movies, basically, that's them paying their rent. Yeah. And obviously, so you can't take it away from them if they're still paying their rent. You have to wait until the due date's up and see if they pay, essentially. But, so because they don't actually own the rights, no matter what happens, even if Comcast was still in the running, that basically means that them rights are going to fall straight back into Disney's hands and pockets, which... kind of is unfortunate for me because I said if you watched episode 3 of the podcast, I was basically saying that I think it's a very bad idea if Disney gets a hold of those properties, just because of the type of movies that we'll be capable of getting. And I even managed to turn your head around because originally you said that you thought it was good, and then I got you along the lines of thinking it was bad. But now we have to deal with the fact that no, it's just fact. It's just basically going to happen. And like I said, unless Fox just randomly decides, actually, no, we want to keep our movie division now for some random reason. That's the only way Disney isn't getting their hands on this stuff now. Most likely case scenario is Disney is just outright going to get everything from 20th Century Fox. But like I said, either way, the main thing that you're looking for is the Marvel stuff. So there is a good spin on it though, right? I mean, if Disney gets... what was said before? Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Fantastic Four.
That would be a good thing to fall into.
The X-Men.
I think if they reboot it, which I think they have to.
Oh yeah, they have to.
It has to be a complete reboot because like there's rumors and shit going around now, which I think finally got debunked. Now that X-Men is joining up with the MCU again, Hugh Jackman might come back to play Wolverine.
No.
And yeah, that is that entire rumor, which was spreading around dozens of article websites, was just based off of the fact that like a few years ago or something, Hugh Jackman said, the one thing that would keep me playing the Wolverine character is like the thought of being able to run around with, it was like Hulk and Captain America and all of them, basically being in the same universe as them. So everyone's like, well, now that's happening, so he's coming back, right? And then I think there was a recent interview or something with Hugh Jackman, and he's saying that he thinks it's really cool that they're merging together. It's what he always was hoping would happen. He never imagined it actually would happen one day. But he's saying, nah, I think the ship has sailed now. I've done my part. I've done my finale, if you will. And honestly...
He's played the role for over, like, what? 15
It's like 14 or something years. It's a bloody long time, to be honest with you. No, I don't begrudge you or anything for it, It's a long time in a good way. But, yeah, it was an awful long... And it would ruin... Like, he had a good send-off in Logan. And I think you leave it at that, You don't touch that. Just give the entire universe a full-on reboot. There is one caveat, though, which is something I haven't got a clue what they're doing with. Let's say by the end of this week, Disney's made the deal with Fox. Disney now owns all of the Fox properties and everything. Well, next year we're scheduled to get Deadpool 2. There is already trailers coming out for Deadpool 2. What happens with Deadpool?
I don't think Disney will actually touch it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
In terms of like, oh no, you can't do that anymore. Considering how well Deadpool actually did in cinemas, I think if they decide to scrap it or change it, it's going to be. It's a risk that they can't really take with it. They've already taken enough of a risk, potentially, in buying out Fox's properties and whatever they're selling to Disney.
See, I can't picture any good scenario occurring from, mostly on the Deadpool side of this, because so that means this time next year, I don't know who it would go down as the technical owners, because at the time in which the film was made, it was made under Fox's house, if you will, under their roof. So I don't know if Disney's stamp would end up on it anyway.
Well, I mean, Disney's stamp doesn't really appear on the Marvel movies.
No, but it's still a Disney movie, and you can tell they're Disney movies because they're not exactly like, you're never going to get an R-rated MCU movie kind of thing. So this film's scheduled to come out next year. At that point, it will technically be a Disney movie. So they have several options, right? You either, at which point, just for some random reason, despite the fact that the film is complete and basically, well, maybe not complete in terms of post-production, but it's filmed and everything. You either scrap the movie altogether and for some reason don't release it in the cinemas, which I kind of don't see happening. You let the film happen anyway, but establish that it's in a completely separate universe, not connected to the MCU whatsoever. Which means you can have your R-rated Deadpool movie and not have to worry about the tone in it affecting the universe and everything. But at that point, people are saddened by that because, well, now Deadpool doesn't get to play with all the MCU characters. And your next thing is the more impossible of any of them, which is that the Deadpool movie's still released and it's part of the MCU, despite the fact that it's like chronology doesn't necessarily line up with everything that's happened in the MCU. And Kevin Feige himself has specifically said he's got no plans anytime soon on releasing an R-rated film in the MCU world. He's happy with like the tone and everything that it is right now and doesn't want to change that.
Right.
So I don't see them scrapping it. Plus, if you establish Deadpool's in a separate universe, by proxy, you're then probably going to establish that the entire X-Men movies are in a separate universe. Wouldn't be such a bad thing to do, but then you're going to get a lot of people who are really unhappy with that because they want to see Wolverine fight the Hulk.
Do you know what you call that? You call that tough luck, my dudes. It doesn't always happen in the comic books. It's not always going to happen in real life.
To be honest with you, like I said, I see no scenario where there isn't a shitload of complaining going on.
Yeah.
Like I said, it'll get scrapped in the reboot Deadpool in the MCU, which then means that it's gonna be not a kiddie movie, but like, you know, it's not gonna be Deadpool.
Yeah.
You release it and establish it in a separate universe, and then everyone's gonna whinge and bitch about that. Or you put it in the same universe, which could essentially completely affect the tone and fuck up everything in terms of chronology. Or
what you do is, Disney just lets go of the reins a little bit for Marvel. And what they could do is, like, and they've done something similar in the comics, but the only name that comes to mind is, I forgot. It's a DC comic that's recently came out. It's like the evil versions of Batman.
Right.
It's like you've got one of the Batmen who's literally became the embodiment of the Joker while still being the Batman kind of. And I think that's called like the Darkverse or something. And it's already established in comics that the whole Marvel line, the whole DC line is part of a multiverse. So what you could do is you could have a set of movies that are Marvel related for the adult, older teenagers and up, and you could have some more movies that are more specifically towards the kiddies, and that means potentially they could get more revenue because all the kids will want to go see like the new Spider-Man kind of deal, or the kid-friendly movie version of the X-Men kind of deal. Make that really comic booky, where you can have a dark version of Marvel Darkverse or something, where that's set towards the older demographic.
Is there a scenario where you can reboot the X-Men universe entirely, but keep the Deadpool films that we've got?
Yeah.
Without considering the fact that in Deadpool 1, well, in Deadpool, he does mention the two actors that play Professor Xavier currently.
Two actors? Oh, the young and the old.
The young one and the old. Patrick Stewart and I shouldn't remember his name because I watched him in a film just yesterday. It'll come to us.
Yeah.
I'm sure it begins with an M or something. I don't remember his name.
Mike.
Mavis.
Michael.
Mitchell. McIntosh.
McIntyre. Not Michael McIntyre.
It's not Michael McIntyre. It's going to irritate us now. Oh, what the fuck is his name?
Mackenzie.
Something. I don't know why I regularly forget this actor's name.
Mega Man.
Oh no, it's gonna really irritate me if I don't get it. I'm just gonna look this up, guys. Yeah, I don't really care about that. Yeah. James McAvoy. That's the guy.
McAvoy.
Right? So Deadpool basically acknowledges Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy in the first film, who are part of the old X-Men, what would be the old X-Men universe. So that's why I'm asking, could you reboot that X-Men universe and keep this line of Deadpool movies?
Yes. Because one of Deadpool's main powers is the fact that he's a fourth wall breaker. He could literally jump out of the movie and kill the creators of the movie if he wanted to.
Then does he acknowledge the fact that he feels like he's in a different universe in one of the films?
Probably. Deadpool's thing is he knows what's going on in his setting. Although that usually depends on like how far your comic writer or your director wants to go with that. But yeah, generally he knows the hip hop.
So I think they're probably lucky then with the fact that pretty much every one of the storylines thus far in terms of what's going on in the X universe is pretty much come to an end with the exception of Deadpool, because Deadpool is probably the one character you can get away with doing it like a universe switch, because he can just freaking acknowledge it.
Deadpool,
so it'll still work.
Deadpool has the literal potential to reboot the entire Marvel universe in terms of the movies.
Well, technically he does, because you can blackmail the writers and the producers and I was going to say the writers again, but he's already blackmailed the writers in my story.
In your story.
So just blackmail everyone until they reboot the universe. So okay, so I mean that's probably, as far as I can see it, the best case scenario is you probably keep this Deadpool line going if Disney will allow that, because Ryan Reynolds is probably the best Deadpool you're going to get.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it's you'd be hurting yourself to recast Deadpool just for the sake of this transfer.
Yeah.
And for everything else, I think you either just have it being a completely separate universe from the MCU, but still reboot it entirely, or because the only advantage I can see really of, yes, still rebooting it, but actually having it a part of the MCU, we're coming close to like the end of this current like 10 years worth of like Marvel movies and all that stuff, which is basically when all the characters that we enjoy from those films are basically either dead or just aren't coming back for whatever story reason. You need something in there, probably other than just Spider-Man, to have that excitement there for people to still want to come back and watch these Marvel movies. Now, yes, Marvel's built himself a name in the movieverse now, but so people are going to go see the films no matter what. Yeah. But at the same time, you still need something to have that excitement, to be able to build that excitement. Because if it's just you've lost everyone that you liked, and now you have to deal with this completely new bunch of people. It's like when a TV show, when the old cast all leaves, but the show keeps going, and they have a completely like new cast come in to play different characters. You don't quite enjoy the show as much, or it takes you a while to get used to the new characters. So it's going to be that. Whereas if they could build the excitement of saying, well, now the X-Men are coming into the universe and the Fantastic Four are here as well, you could have your Fantastic Phase 4 and all that stuff. I think that's the main advantage and the main reason why I think they will put it in the connect them to the MCU. I don't think you're going to ever see them in the next two Avengers film. I think you're going to wait until this story arc is finished. And then I think in terms of advertising to keep hype going for your universe, that's the best way you can probably do it, is by bringing the X-Men in and bringing the characters that no one's seen Marvel play with yet. So to me, like I said, best case scenario is probably that, provided you're able to keep the Deadpool movie going, and provided that you keep, obviously, just be like you literally keep that Deadpool movie going. Don't reboot that particular Deadpool, because you'll not get a better one.
Although, if they keep that Deadpool going, they could, if Disney if Disney goes along with the idea of like having a dark verse and a light verse, essentially, you could start introducing like a Deadpool for the kids, because like you can have Panda Pool, and there's plenty of other Deadpools that you could have just for the kids.
Yeah, but
and they're all essentially the same
they're not going to do
character.
live action versions of that, though. I'm sorry, like money wise, they're just not.
I would just get Pixar to make one of them.
Yeah, well, they could do that, is what I'm saying. But although Disney have got their own animation team that's not Pixar, they could get that team that did Big Hero 6 to do it or whatever. So there's a bunch of... I still have a bit of a concern with the fact that I don't think you're ever going to get a film that's not the same as Logan, but along the same vein as what Logan was when Disney's the one behind it. I just don't think you're ever going to get that type of film. There was part of the article we read earlier today mentions something along the lines of like, I don't know if it's at the Golden Globes or another different award show altogether, but Fox got like 16 nominations this year for like indie films and all that other stuff that they've made. Whereas Disney's a lot more focused on the sequels and the big blockbuster movies and everything. So, and they've only gotten 2 nominations from this award ceremony thing. So there's quite a difference between the type of films that Disney makes versus the type of films that Fox is willing to make. I feel like Fox, despite the fact I think it takes them a lot of convincing to do it, I think they are more willing to take risks than Disney is. I think Disney's a lot more keep it safe, keep it happy and everything.
It's a little weird to do that though, because Disney in the past have been pretty dark. I mean, you've had Donald Duck as like a Nazi. You've had a lot of characters in the Disney world be like.
Well,
Nazis
the old like cartoon films that they used to have, the original animated movies that they used to do, they didn't have like happy endings where the bad guy made it out alive and went on to realize he was actually the bad guy and redeem himself or anything. No, the guy from Tarzan gets hung. The guy from like Oliver and Company gets run over by a train.
Disney does really good family films, but like you're missing an opportunity and hitting your older crowd again. I mean, Disney used to be like the place where you go where you could get like any kind of like entertainment, generally animation, but any kind of entertainment that you could wish for.
Well, I think with Disney, it was a literal family films that they typically made because any age member of the family could enjoy the movie. Whereas I think now it gets to a point, especially with a lot of that stuff, where there are things that are getting a bit stagnant with them. And they're not taking enough risks with a lot of their films. Some of them are a bit too safe. And so it's a family film in terms of, and along the lines of there's no age group that shouldn't be watching this movie, but it's not a family film in the esque where every member of the family could easily enjoy the film. You know, they've never come close to another Lion King or Toy Story or...
I thought they did with Frozen. In terms of like...
think about how beloved the Lion King is and the Toy Story franchise, right? Frozen gets a lot of hate. As much love as it gets an equal amount of pushback with hate because of just how overhyped the film was. Like, honestly, I don't think Frozen is a shit film by any means, but I heard back when I was at university, I heard dozens of people talking about this film, especially being an animation student at the time. It's just from like left, right, and center. I was just hearing all about Frozen all the time, and I eventually saw the movie, and I was like, it's all right. So to me, the film was overhyped, you know. But once that just goes back to the dangers of hype. But so no, I don't think Frozen is on anywhere near the same level as what The Lion King is. You know, I don't think people are desperate for that live action version of Frozen.
I don't think Frozen should ever go live action.
It shouldn't. It would look weird.
Stylistically, it has its own thing. I mean, it's actually no, it doesn't, because it's really it's quite similar to Tangled.
Yeah.
Because I think they even like I think Disney even done like similar marketing to what Tangled had. Like
probably. I don't think I really watched the marketing for Frozen, to be honest with you. No. But I don't know. I just think Disney's definitely not what they used to be. I think a lot of the films that they make today age relatively quickly. Not like within the space of a few months, but within like a few years, that films age quite quick. it's one of the big reasons why I would love them to go back to just like 2D animation, not permanently kind of thing. Just release one every now and then. You know, give it a try, because that original like 2D animations still hold up today. Like, I know this is sacrilegious to say, but Toy Story, story-wise, it's fine. It works just fine today. But CGI-wise, it doesn't.
No.
It's very obvious. Like, back when I first saw Toy Story, to me, they looked like living plastic.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it was very realistic.
There's still times where I'm like, that could be actually like just an animated figure.
Well, but I especially just because I've looked into CGI stuff a lot. I've had plenty of experience in like the software and everything. To me, I'm most fine with Toy Story 2 and obviously Toy Story 3 because it's a lot more recent. But with Toy Story 1 in particular, and you got to remember this was like the first feature-length 3D film.
Yeah.
So, you can give it a bit of a break, but at the same time, I can literally see the animations inside of the animation software, like doing its stuff. I can like see where the model pieces like were made and where they would have had the pivot points for the heads and all that stuff. And it's like, I hate that I can see all of that. But so it's just one of the things where I think 2D, animation has like a big advantage over it. So I would like Disney just to go back to taking risks with some stuff and go back to a bit of old style every now and then, just keep it a bit fresh. So that's, I think, the main reason why I'm worried about, as I mentioned in my cons for Disney getting Fox's properties, the main reason is just because I don't think Disney takes enough risks.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's about as much as I can say in terms of criticism. Like I said, I think there's some great advantages, especially on the Marvel side.
Yeah.
Marvel needs a threat after Thanos is done with, and we've said this a couple of times. Do better than the Galactus character. He's the perfect
not as a
threat.
giant fucking cloud.
Definitely not as a giant fucking cloud.
He is a giant. He's one of the titans of the universe, even though he's not technically a titan of this universe.
Well, it would be interesting. I just think I would trust Marvel not to do a cloud for an enemy, to be honest with you. As far as I'm aware, I think the MCU is yet to have a cloud for a villain. So maybe they're due one.
Yeah.
But hopefully not. I think, 2 films is enough to learn your lesson that cloud villains don't work. Because I think it was both Fantastic Four 2 and Green Lantern that had cloud villains. Green Lantern had like this like dark brown cloud. I've only seen the film once.
I haven't seen it once.
I've seen it once. There are some elements that are decent.
Yeah. Apart from the suit.
I didn't hate the suit, to be honest with you. I didn't mind the suit at all.
It looks out of place. It's like that issue that I have with like the look of Cyborg. I can tell. I can just tell that it's CG overlaid like over a person's body and stuff. I don't have much trouble when it comes to like Iron Man. I think especially during like the first one, because they did have points where he's actually in a suit. Although
I have to say, in the first Iron Man, I can really tell where the CGI parts of his suit are now, especially his helmet. Like his helmet isn't like, it's not that it's the wrong proportion, but it's it kind of feels like it's floating on its neck a bit. So it's unfortunate that I can say that kind of stuff now. I don't know, man. Like I said, I guess I can be very critical when it comes to CGI, but I guess maybe I'm not as critical. I think, especially in the movie itself, for as many points of view as I have on Justice League, I don't have a problem with Cyborg whatsoever. I think Cyborg looks really good in the film. There are sections where Cyborg looks fantastic, just in terms of actually quite intimidating, to be honest with you. In the Green Lantern suit from Green Lantern, I had zero problems with it whatsoever. I actually quite liked the Green Lantern suit from the film. I thought it suited the character based off of, how his powers and everything work. I was like, that kind of makes sense to me. So I remember talking to Perry. One of Perry's biggest criticisms about the Green Lantern film was the suit. I was like, I don't get why everyone hates the suit. It looks fine to me. I get that he's not actually wearing the suit, but I didn't see that as a reason to hate it.
Yeah.
So
I do have a potential fix for Disney buying Fox's properties.
oh, go on then.
Well, they could take a page out of the book of video games, and if they don't want to have a particular movie like shot because of it's really intense, they could always just like give it to another studio to do that particular movie. Because there's been cases where like Fallout New Vegas wasn't created by Bethesda. And they've just essentially just licensed out that one game to I don't remember the studio's name, and I do apologize because I'm still yet to play Vegas for that matter, and I hear it's really good. But yeah, they could take a leaf out of video games and like be like give it to another studio to make that movie. If it does really well, give it back to them for another year.
I think it's different, especially with films, dude. And especially with Disney, you know, a giant, huge conglomerate that it is not going to want to lease one of its films that could potentially make it a shit ton of money out to another studio to make. They have a studio in-house that is making them plenty of money with the films that they're making right now. So I think they would have no intention to ever do that.
Well, I mean, we could harken back to one of our earlier points, which is just to give them less money. And if they do really well, there's some more money.
Which is fair enough. But I'm just, like I said, I don't know that fixes anything because my concern is, especially where tone is concerned, I just don't think Disney's ever going to stretch the limit beyond what they're providing us with currently. Especially not unless it's like a director that they just really trust and will just let get on with his job.
Not Michael Bay.
I don't think Disney has any intention of going near Michael Bay anytime soon.
That will be disastrous.
But, you know, I don't know. I just can't see Disney going past what they've already given were. And that's where my concern is. I don't see a fix for that because I've not seen any evidence to suggest that Disney's willing to go that next step. I might take that back once I see the Star Wars movie that's coming out.
Which we're going to see.
Which we are going to see. And make sure you check out next week's podcast where we'll be talking about it as well.
Yeah, we definitely will. Oh.
But yeah, I think, well, since we're already talking on to next week's podcast, that's pretty much going to about wrap this topic up.
Pretty much.
Yeah, unfortunately, the worst is inevitable, but it might be saved yet. So
the worst.
The worst.
We don't know.
Literally the worst thing that could ever happen to the entire world.
Let's do a couple of predictions while we're at it. In the case of Disney buying out Fox, not in its entirety, but at least its movie section, what do you think is going to happen?
I think they're going to probably merge the Marvel stuff. Depending on whether or not Lucas made a contract telling them that they couldn't, there's a potential that they're going to release the original trilogy, which for some reason everybody wants. I don't quite understand why, but
I think it's because of all the edits.
Yeah, but some of the things in the special editions make the films better. You know, in terms of like
rid of the Wolfman.
You know, but I mean, come on, like it was a freaking woman with chimp eyes or something that was playing the Emperor in Empire Strikes Back.
What?
Yeah.
A woman with chimp eyes.
Literally a woman with chimp eyes.
Playing the Emperor.
Yes.
Palpatine.
Yes. In Empire Strikes Back.
Was it a woman?
Yes. It was literally a hologram. And they just, like, they got one of the wives of somebody that was like a producer on the film. I can't remember who. And they just imposed chimp eyes onto her. And that was your Emperor.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So, you know, special editions actually make certain things better about the films. Not everything, I get it. No, but forget about that. Jeez. Point being is, I think the most likely will merge, like reboot the X-Men, all be in the MCU. I have no idea what will happen with Deadpool. And we'll get them after the Avengers films are finished. And to be honest with you, I don't know. I think we'll just not have to rely on those style of films anymore. Especially not if Warner Brothers is getting too scared to start taking risks with their films. Because if you try and please everyone, you're going to please no one. So stop it.
And you'll get the same thing that will happen to Iron Giant. Yeah, that's the thing, I watched the thing on YouTube and someone talking about the Iron Giant and how Warner Brothers didn't promote it enough. Why the reason why it's failed. And I was like, and he mentioned something along the lines of, if you promoted this, we could have had another era of 2D animated film with 3D included. Like, don't turn into Warner Brothers Disney, please. I mean, take some risks.
Warner Brothers, you're my favorite studio out of all of you, but you are embarrassing me right now, I've got to say, and everybody else that loves you. But that's my main concern. We had a topic on a previous podcast, the Dangers of Hype podcast, about the risk of the end of the superhero era, and I still fully believe that it's nowhere near its end. However, with Disney acquiring Fox and Warner Brothers starting to become too afraid to take risks and probably wanting to be more like Marvel, because that's one thing I loved about Fox. They didn't give two fucks about what Marvel was doing, what anyone was doing. They made their own films, good or bad. They made their films their way, and it produced some great films and it produced some mediocrely shit films. But with Disney acquiring all that and Warner Brothers starting to cower away in the corner and just say, just make them like the Marvel movies. That's going to be what kills it at the end of the day. And at that point, then the Hollywood blockbusters are going to start to really stagnate, and that's just going to hurt film all out. So please, Disney, take risks, and Warner Brothers, get your shit together. What else can I say? But yeah, that'll about do it for us, guys. So definitely make sure you check out next week's podcast, though. It should be good.
Absolutely.
So, and on top of that, there is another thing you can do for us. You can do it right now. You can do it in a minute, but I recommend you do it right now, and then you can start commenting, which will require you to hit a lot more buttons. But in order to do that, hit all the buttons first, and then hit more buttons. Enough said. Exactly.
What was that? Bye.
Bye.